Guys, this is yes. Well, good evening. Good evening. I'm home alone today with no Georg Schweitzer, but hopefully in a moment or two he will appear. Guys, this is number 50, Slow Guide Wine Seminar number 50. Yes. And this is Georg Schweitzer from Weinburgenland appearing slowly. And well, Georg is, let's say, one of the co-father of this success. Yes, 50. Hello. Would you believe it? Yes. And Georg Schweitzer, you see his attempts, perhaps will be on the radio. Hopefully there's no problems. Hi, Georg.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good
Okay, sorry
afternoon.
you can't see me, but you don't miss anything not seeing me.
Good. So, ladies and gentlemen, masterclass Welschriesling, Olas, and Laški Rizling with two wineries from Hungary and Slovenia, and nine wineries from Burgenland, Austria. And now the voice is given to the voice is given to Georg Schweitzer. Right. Georg, floor is yours.
Okay, Piotr, thank you very much for the introduction and congratulations having the 50th anniversary. Sorry, it looks like that the internet connection is quite bad, so I'm stick to the microphone and don't enable the video, but you can see the slides anyhow. So Piotr asked to make a masterclass about Welschriesling, and I selected 9 different Welschrieslings from Burgenland area. But before we start with the wine, let me talk about some key figures, importance of Welschriesling in Burgenland area, so you get a proper understanding about this wine. Maybe you switch to the next slide. Yeah, this is out of the statistics you can get from the Austrian Wine Marketing Board on the internet side, and you can see that all over Austria, Welschriesling is planted, so in all of the regions. In the Burgenland area, it's about 1,000 hectares, and altogether roughly 3,000 hectares. And there are other countries which have much more, like Hungary, for example, we will maybe hear later on. But Welschriesling is covering about 6.6% of the whole vineyard areas in Austria, and this used to be much bigger number. So in the last 50 years, this number was going down. I just remember times in 95 that the figure was about 12-13%, and now it's just 6.6%. So it's going down. Why it's that? Maybe simply for the reason that we've got Grüner Veltliner boom in Austria, and a lot of Grüner Veltliner replaced the Welschriesling wines there. But we still have a good portion of quite old Welschriesling wines, especially in the Mittelburgenland region, for example, going up to 50 years of age. And this is really some substance in the wines. Welschriesling, on the right-hand side, you can see it's the number 4 in Burgenland area. So Burgenland is the red wine corner of Austria, as you know, with Blaufränkisch and Zweigelt. Then there is a gap, followed by Grüner Veltliner, and just closely, roughly about 100 hectares, Welschriesling is planted number 4 from north to south. Maybe you switch to the next slide, please, Piotr. In the Burgenland area, we cover this 1,000 hectares, roughly 8.4%. So it's more than the average in Austria. What is the secret behind that? It's a little bit more. It's mainly due to the region of Neusiedlersee, which is very much in the north, and there are a lot of sweet wine, Trockenbeerenauslese, Beerenauslese, Spätlese, Auslese, and so on. They are done with Welschriesling, just for the simple reason, and we will taste it today throughout the wines, that acidity is always on a high level. And especially with sweet wines, you need high acidity and sugar to get the wine in balance. So for us, it's an important variety, and it looks like that Welschriesling will become the white wine from the Burgenland region. kind of a benchmark what can be done with Welschriesling. There's a lot of Welschriesling in Styria as well, but this is a completely different style of Welschriesling, which is mainly fruity, quite slim wines, easygoing wines. Of course, there are exceptions existing, but we will taste today some wines from the Burgenland region with much more substance and much more creaminess on the palate. So the new way of doing Welschriesling wines. Yeah, please switch to the next slide. You know this slide from the last seminars. I made a distribution about the Welschriesling to the regions. So you can see that in the Neusiedlersee region, almost 10% of the plantings are Welschriesling. In the Leiterberg region, it's almost the same, about 9.8%. Not talking about Rosalia and Mittelburgenland, there's a quite small portion as those are mainly red wine areas. But in the Eisenberg region, it's almost 15%. And something very, very new information I can give to you is that most likely the Eisenberg region, which do have a Eisenberg DAC right now based on Blaufränkisch, will enlarge this DAC to Welschriesling as well. So there might be from 23 or 24 onwards Eisenberg DAC white based on 100% Welschriesling, showing the importance of this variety, especially in this region as well. And as you can think of, the style of Welschriesling from the north to the south is completely different. In the north, in the Neusiedlersee region, it's a little bit more creamy, round, fruity, and going down to the Eisenberg region, it's about structure, freshness, acidity, maybe a little bit leaner style, lees aging, and so on. So a completely different style of Welschriesling from the north to the south in the Burgenland area. Next slide, please. Yeah, some facts about the variety. Parentage. There are different stories existing about the parentage of Welschriesling, but let's say the one which is accepted the most is we don't know it. Who are the parents? We just know that Elbling, you know, it used to be a quite famous white variety in Germany some time ago. Once has been replaced with Riesling on their side, especially in the region of Baden. And if you just look on the other side of the Rhine, to the Elsass area, there's a lot of Elbling existing. But it looks to be that Welschriesling is somehow related to the Elbling wine. From the style point of view of Welschriesling, it's good because of the acidity for sparkling wines, as well as for Prädikatswein, as mentioned before. Trockenbeerenauslese, Beerenauslesen. Quality can range from very simple, easygoing, up to very complex, long-lasting, and even with potential to age for a couple of years, even 10 or 15 years in certain styles of wine. The wine itself is quite sensitive to any lack of moisture, so we need to have good soils with a good water storage capacity in there. If not, we will not get the shoots. And on the left-hand side, you see the picture of Welschriesling. And there's one typical thing for Welschriesling. You can see the grape, and just in the very beginning of the grape, there's I call it side grape, a small one. And this is typical for Welschriesling, to have this side grape there. The wine itself is quite generous in terms of acidity. The typical flavor, if you do it in a lean style, it's about green apples, it's about lemon, it's about citrus, it's about freshness. Being very dry up to really, really richly sugared. And as mentioned here, the sweet wines from Welschriesling, they belong to the great sweet wines of the world, and this is accepted. The next slide, please. Origin, two theories. Either it's northern Italy or it's Champagne. We don't know it yet. Let's see what it will be over the time. And there are certain synonyms existing for Welschriesling. I found about 80 different synonyms around the world for Welschriesling, but it's the old monarchy grape variety. Let's call it like this. So we call it Welschriesling in Austria. It's Olaszrizling in Hungary, Laški Rizling in Slovenia and Serbia, Rizling Italian in Romania, Rizling Italico in Italy, Riesling Laški in Slovakia, in Czech Republic, and Kraševina, this is the only name where Riesling is not part of it, Kraševina in Croatia. So you see a lot of different names for the very same variety, but you can see this is exactly those countries I was referring to beforehand. Welschriesling is a widely planted variety in the European region, especially in the former monarchy region. Biggest plantings are currently in Hungary. I think about 8,000 hectares, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe the guy from Hungary can tell us a little bit more about Olaszrizling in Hungary, especially in the region of Lake of Baladon, the northern part of it. Quite interesting wines there. Okay, so this is the kind of a theory about Welschriesling. A white wine variety can be a lean style, can be very dry, can be very sweet, green apples, lemon, citrus flavor, but, and we will see today as well, with more ripely grapes, it's going to be exotic, it's going to be mango, it's going to be papaya even in there. And Welschriesling is keen for stainless steel production, as well as in oak barrels, big oak barrels, small oak barrels. You can do malolactic fermentation with it. So different styles are possible. And of course, these sparkling wines as well. Okay, so this is the tasting order we are running through. We will start with, let's say, the first three Welschriesling are quite traditional Welschriesling style, lean styles, fresh and fruity styles, coming from two different regions. We will see it later on. Then we switch to the one from Slovenia. Then we go ahead with Welschriesling with a little bit more substance because of certain features. Number 8 will be the Olaszrizling from Hungary, and number 9, 10, and 11 some special treatment Welschriesling wines from the Burgenland region. Okay, so I would suggest that you pour wine number 1. Sorry, I just came back from Corona. Sorry, so my voice is a little bit, yeah. I don't know what to say.
It's a little bit interesting, yeah? More.
Yeah.
Interesting. You can try to turn on the camera, perhaps.
It's still telling me I've got a bad connection, so
all right.
I don't know
okay. So
if this is possible.
Mm-hmm.
So please taste this wine. It's coming from the winery Tremmel in Rust. This is part of the Leiterberg region. Since 2 years, the city of Rust is part of Leiterberg. They can do Leiterberg DSC wines, but unfortunately, the variety Welschriesling is not part of the Leiterberg DSC definition. This is just Grüner Veltliner, Neuburger, Weißburgunder or Pinot Blanc, and some Chardonnay. This is out there. We're gonna have about 13 ABV, which is quite high for a classic Welschriesling wine, but 2021 has been a very, very good vintage with a high ripeness level and quite, how to say, good acidity structure as well. You can see acidity is 7.3 grams per liter, and I added the prices ex winery there. It's about €6, so just below €6. I just see the question, what is the best food pairing for wine number 1? So the wine number 1, it's all about apples. It's a little bit about hay notes and grassy notes in there. Hints of elegancy on the palate. So we do drink this wine to, let's say, starter courses like salads, for example, or even light courses, white fish, for example. And on the other side, we have this tradition of spritzer. So this is the kind of wine where we do spritzer with. So we get a little bit of taste, a little bit of freshness from the acidity. And this is what we're doing for. Even we have a tradition in Austria, especially in this region, we have got a lot of this strudel, but we're talking about savory strudel. So it's a bean strudel, for example, or potato strudel. Yeah, this would be a perfect match for this Welschriesling 2021 from Rust region, from the winery Tremmel. What I can tell you on this wine is Yeah, it has been cool fermented, so this is the reason why it has got a little bit more flavor in the nose. And then it was kept on the fine lees until January. So this gives you the impression of a little bit of roundness and creaminess in the back, beside the higher alcohol of virgin ABV. Quite classically, more kind of not full-bodied, but in terms of what you compare with normally with Welschriesling, it's a little bit broader. It's a little bit more power on this wine there. So how do you like this wine? Maybe you just pop in.
Georg, just do you know the distributor in Poland, if they have any?
Let me check.
And how many bottles do they produce?
Yeah, the bottles should be around 5,000.
Wow.
No, they don't have an importer in Poland right now.
Okay. Very refreshing.
Yes.
The comment coming in the chat. So, guys, today is a very specific tasting, as Georg has just recovered from COVID, and well, we were just tested for COVID. So, about tasting, you manage as the adults, as grown up as you are, right? Nice and fresh, great summer wine.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
For me, the interesting thing on this wine is, although we've got 13 ABV, so quite ripe grapes, still the acidity is quite high. Yeah, and this is the difference to the next wine coming up, because as we said, this is region Leiterberg, and the next wine is coming from the region Neusiedlersee, which is much warmer. So you will see less alcohol in the second wine, but lower acidity. So maybe we can go with the second one. Welschriesling every day. So the name says it already. It's a wine for every day. 2021, coming from the winery Keringer. They've got the trademark Massive or Massive wines, which is 100 days on skins and whatsoever in the high-ranked reserve category. But this wine is for daily consumption. Welschriesling every day 2021. Winery Keringer is coming from the region of Mönchhof, which is close to the hottest place in Austria every year, to Andau. Even today, they just informed me they got like 34 degrees of Celsius right now. Here in the Donauskirchen region where I'm located, we just get 30.5. So they're always much warmer than we are. And on top of it, they get less of rain. And this you can see in this wine. But this wine, Welschriesling everyday wine, is as well, I would say, nice and fresh, but more leaner, more easygoing, really refreshing. It's a nice summer wine, a really nice summer wine. Just think about, it's hot out there, 40 degrees, you're on the terrace, and you go with it, a lot of green apples, a lot of citrus notes in there, maybe a little bit of nuttiness, a little bit of pears you can smell in there. It's quite sophisticated and versatile fruit flavor on this wine, but refreshing and easygoing, and a little bit, how to say, lighter back finish and shorter than the wine before. So this would be ideal combination for salads, green salads with even with some vinegar in there. This could be a good combination in there. 690 ex winery, number of bottles should be about 25,000, maybe 30,000 bottles. So it's quite a big production here.
And the distributor here in Poland?
I'm just looking for this one. They've got one. Wogar Wie Neukiel. It's, well, I can read this.
This is Wino
It is,
Ikilski.
yeah, it's in Opole. That's the city.
Opole, yes. This is Wojciech Wojtanowski.
Yeah.
Hey, Wojciech, why are you so shy? He is with us, I believe.
Okay. Congratulations for this wine.
Yes, Wojciech, hello.
Yeah.
He's typing. Very enjoyable. Name
Yeah.
perfectly fits it. Name perfectly fits
I
it.
think what you can taste on this wine is this is pure gravel soil. Yeah. So it's about fruitiness, leanness, and yeah, easy going in a positive sense, of course. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Right. Any comments, guys?
By the way,
We
this
like
wine,
it.
yeah,
Well,
this winery has got the world record in the biggest bottle existing in the world, filled with wine. If you Google it, you will see Winery Keringer world record on biggest bottle, and then you have a picture there how big this bottle is. I don't know how much liters is it 1,000. I don't know, but really, it's one of the world records he's holding on.
but it's in made of glass. The
Yeah,
bottle.
yeah, yeah, sure. And it was even almost breaking.
Okay.
Let me check quickly on the
Okay.
internet. I just remembered it.
So nice everyday wine. Easy, fresh, aromatic. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I got the amount of the bottle. It's 1,590 liters,
Right.
and it's filled with red wine, of course.
How did they make it?
I don't know. It's in Lustenau, so it's in Vorarlberg right now. The bottle,
In
but it's a
Vorarlberg.
world record. 1,590 liter.
Okay. Made in China, the bottle?
I don't think that the glass will hold it.
Good. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Big battle. And Wojciech Wino i Kieliszki Bogar. Yes.
Yeah.
He's writing something. Fresh and aromatic. Hello, Wojciech. Typing, typing, typing.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. And the next one?
Dostępne wino i yes. Available at Wino i Kieliszki. Yes, we know it. Yes, because you're the importer. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So wine number 3.
Yeah, wine number 3 is Welschriesling Seestern, which is a kind of fancy name or nickname, Seestern, 2021, coming again from the Leiterberg region, but not from the city of Rust, in the city of Ogau. So Ogau is just beside Rust, but there is we call it Rustergebirge, so there's a hill between those two sides, and this makes already a difference in climate. So we've got 12.5 ABV, 1.2 grams of sugar with 6 grams acidity. So this is the classical style on the western shore of Neusiedler Lake for the variety of Welschriesling. I would say it's again a kind of everyday's wine, easy going. They are running a Bush and Shank, so a Heurigen in there, and this is one of the best sold wines in there because it's really easy going, lightly made, fresh. There's a lot of, and this is typical for Ogau because we have a mixture between black earth and some gravel sites there. So we got hints of elderflower. We got more ripe apples in there, like yellow apples in the nose, but it's quite lively, fruity, and acidity, although just 6 grams per liter, is a little bit more, lively and developed on this wine to make it just really nice, drinkable, not easy going in the sense of being an easy wine, but you don't will have problems drinking this wine, even a second class or a third class. Can we store this wine for a while, or is it an immediate consumption only? So these wines up to now, number one, for sure, you can store for 2 years, 3 years, no problem. The other two wines, I would say the Keringer you should consume within the year of release and then go for the next vintage. And the Welschriesling Seestern is the very same. Drink it in the year of the release. So no problem. This one is released in February, something like February. You can do it until November, December, still no problem. But just imagine over the time, the wine, the fruit of the wine will fade a little bit, and then what's left over? If there is no fruit anymore, it's water with alcohol and acidity, and you don't have any fun anymore. So these wines are made as an intention to be drunk young within the first year. Out of personal experience, I know you still can drink it after 2 or 3 years as well, but of course you will lose the freshness of these wines. Just reading another question. I read that the vineyard was founded in 1786. Yeah, it's keeping traditional winemaking power from looking into innovations and new wine directions. Yes, that's what they are doing. On the picture, you see the two brothers, Tobias and Sebastian. They are nowadays running the winery. They just took it over a couple of years back, and they are trying to do quite new things, with amphora, with concrete tanks. But this one is still classical stainless steel, as this is, as call it, like butter and bread wine, for them. They've got, I don't know, was it like 20,000 bottles on this wine? So this is really a huge production. And the winery itself is about 50, 60 hectares altogether, but it's quite old, quite traditional. And what they have as well, quite old wines. Even on Welschriesling, they got some wines which are 40, 60 years old. But not with this one. This is the easygoing young wine. It's about the highest yield possible to get the freshness, to get the drinkability on this wine. But they are working on Welschriesling in a different new style as well, with some skin contact, as well with some lees contact over some time, but not with this wine.
Right. And tell me the distributor in Poland.
They are here it is. Avino in Krakow.
Navino.
Yeah, they call it Avino, Awino.
Well, you're missing one N before A. So
okay,
this is Navino, Wojciech Lutomski, I believe.
Okay, I can just read what they have been typing here. So
yes, yes, good. Okay,
but it's existing in Poland, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the name is fine. It's easy to remember. Mad, it's okay.
Yeah, they make a good business in the States, by the way, because with mad or mad,
mm-hmm.
there's some meaning behind.
Yeah, and there is also 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago we tasted Matt Moser, the winery, the Lenz Moser wine from Mad in Tokaj.
Yeah.
Village, Matt Moser.
Yeah. This is the former state-owned wine producer in the Tokaj region.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, pretty interesting. A little bit Arnold Schwarzenegger style, the 14 point something alcohol, but interesting, let's say.
Why not?
Like Arnold in Tuxedo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I love Arnold personally. Good. So thank you, Georg. Perhaps we are going to see you in a moment, and not only to hear you. And now it's Slovenia and Maximilian. Maximilian, hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. We can't see you either.
we can see me also. Okay, so thank you everybody to gather around now to have this, I hope, pleasant tasting from Slovenia. With Piotr, we discussed that maybe Slovenia is not really known in wine world, so I will just explain a few things about Slovenia. We are a small country surrounded with Italy on the west, on the Austria is on the north, Then Hungary is on the east, and on the southern border is Croatia. So Slovenia is divided in three main regions. So one is on the coastline, another one is close to Croatia, so it's actually on the southeastern part of Slovenia, and Podravje, where we are coming from, is in between Austria, Hungary, and Croatia. Slovenia has in register 30,000 wine growers, but just let's say 500 of them are producing a bit bigger and let's say more important quantities. So Welschriesling is the most planted variety in Slovenia and represents about 12% of total planted vineyards. It's also a really important variety for our winery. We produce 30% of it in total production, which is 1 million liter, but majority goes to the blend. So yes, we are here in city Ptuj, which is in eastern part of Slovenia. Peter will now show you just a few pictures of Slovenia. So that's the capital, Ljubljana. Another view. So we have some Alps, which are also quite a big and important factor to our winemaking. I will explain why. So that's the coastline, which actually more goes to the Mediterranean style of wines. Another part of Alps. This is Dolenska, so the weather there is something in between coastline and our region. And now here we are here in Štajerska, Prekmurje.
First question, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
What are the most popular grape varieties in Slovenia?
So actually the most produced variety, or let's say wine in Slovenia, is white blend. Almost everybody has it. If we are talking about the varieties, we were, or let's say we still are the most known about Sauvignon Blanc. But according to all the world, let's say, I know guidelines, the Sauvignon Blanc is dropping, and we notice that even in Slovenia. So let's say they are coming in front more varieties which has less aroma. So Welschriesling or Laški Rizling, how we call it, is for sure one of the varieties we believe in. The climate is good for it. The acidity usually it's not really high, but it's nice balance and crispy. It's not really bad to grow it, so it really suits to our climate. That's also the reason why we decided to show it today to you, of course. So we have three main influences in Slovenia. So the Slovenia is really versatile country. You can find a lot of different wine styles all around the Slovenia. But I will mainly speak about Štajerska, which is part of Podravje. It has three main influences. So one comes from Mediterranean, that brings us warm and humid weather. Another one is Pannonian Flat, which brings us warm and dry weather. And the biggest influence, it comes from the Alps. We are just 20 kilometers from the Alps, and that brings us some chilly weather in the night. So even the summers can be really hot during the day. During the night it's quite chilly, so that keeps actually our freshness, aromatics, and acidity. That's why also Sauvignon Blanc was really successful in this region. The manner how we made it was, let's say, fruit forward, fresh, crispy, with a lot of aromas, and not so, let's say, chunky and with full body. So you will see also the Welschriesling is really nice and crispy. I think we can go on, Pierre. So we are coming from Ptuj winery. The Ptuj is the oldest city in Slovenia. That's me.
Sorry, there is another question coming in chat.
Okay.
Do you see the effects of climate change in your region?
Yes, we do. We do a lot of let's say we see a lot of problems, especially in account of so big storms. So usually we had, let's say, a lot of rain, but it was spread through all the season. Now we notice that the storms came really quickly, brings in a lot of rain, usually also a lot of hail, and that causes a lot of problems. Also, the weather is not so stable in the autumn, so in the harvest, and sometimes we have quite a lot of challenges how to handle the harvest. Another let's say big change in climate we notice is that so high temperatures in the summer, that was never part of our climate, but in last few years actually the summers almost every day during July and August is above 30 degrees, which wasn't so usual for our region. So TUI Winery is producing, like I said before, around 1 million liters of actually it's total production of 1 million liters of wine, and Laški Rizling represents like 300,000 liters. So that is sightseeing of southern region called Harare. We have mainly terraced vineyards, so the yielding per hectare is really low. Also, the planted wines are up to 3,000 wines per hectare, which is actually the maximum. The elevation is between 300 and 400 meters. You can see actually almost everything is terraced. Before that, they were growing the wines, let's say, almost like a bushes, but it was much harder to work in such vineyards. So that, like in 60s or 70s, they started to do the terraces, so the working in the vineyards was much easier. If we are talking about the soil, the soil is mainly sandstone. Also the Laški Rizling, which we'll try just in few minutes, it was grown on mainly sandstone. Other type of soils we can find in our regions are gravels and some clay as well. Just in few places you can also find some flint. So we have in 2007, when Pulus was established, we also changed the philosophy of winemaking. Before that, mainly the technology was oxidative. All the wines mainly contains the residual sugar. So, and after 2007, we swapped the stainless steel tanks, cooler fermentation, much more focus we put to the grape health, grape condition, and we completely changed the style of wine, so more suitable for worldwide trends. And also that was the reflection of our climate, because every year we can produce nice, crispy, fresh, fruity wines, but really in exceptional years we can play with some more ripe. Okay, so the Welschriesling, like I said, was grown on sandstone soil. We pick it at the end of September. Usually we start harvest end of August if it's really soon, or beginning of September. So that Welschriesling was, let's say, picked quite late, later than we picked the other. So on the aroma, you will find in our Rieslings like apples, some queens, some dried flowers, and through the years it will change into some flintiness, saltiness, which also shows the wine which you have in the glasses. Almost complete wine was produced in stainless steel tanks. Just a part of it was matured in oak barrels, but for a short period of time. It was just intended to give the wine some other spectrum. But otherwise, the wine has nice, not too heavy body. You can see well-balanced acidity. The acidity is 6 grams per liter. The residual sugar is just 1 gram, so it's completely dry. And alcohol is 13%. We recommend this wine. Okay, you can have it like for simpler dishes, for dried meat. But what I noticed in, let's say, last month, when the fishes are on the plates, especially in the summer, it really goes well with nice white fish, wild fish, and from the oven or from the barbecue. So That's really the wine which goes the best with some fishes, for my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Max. We can't see you. This is a
Oh,
fate today. We
sorry. I think I
ah
have.
yes, we can see you. Hello.
Hi,
So this is you. Hi.
that's me.
Good, fine. Somebody refreshing and with great front aroma, right? Great front
So
aroma.
we have, sorry to interrupt you, we have many different levels of our labels. So in Pulus white label, we tend to represent the variety, so, or let's say the vineyards, which really represents variety the best from our region. So here the idea is not to drink them straight away. Usually when we release them, that's after the new year, are tend to be drunk, and also you can drink them 3 4 years, so it's not, they are not the wines for quick consumption.
Okay. Tell me the price at the winery is
The price in winery is 5.9 euros. So that's
5.9.
yeah, that's the price on shelf in our winery.
For private. For private. And how many bottles of this wine do you produce?
Usually between 7 to 10,000 bottles a year.
10,000. Right. So, congrats! You were the first Slovenian appearing here, and finally, yes, we saw you. Well, I believe this is not the last wine from Slovenia we are going to taste during this seminars, as probably we're coming back with some other varieties in the
Well,
future.
thank you very much for invitation, and yeah, we have much more to show. So
Yeah,
let's hope to meet again.
let's hope to meet again here on or there, right?
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Thank you,
Thank
Max.
you. Bye.
Any
Cheers.
comments, guys? Any comments? Anybody? Well, stay with us if any comments in chat, right?
I will.
Somebody is writing something. What about price? Well, the price was already given, but could you repeat the price, Max?
Yeah, it's 5.9.
5.9. 5.9, yes. No worries. No worries. It's better to ask twice than not. Right. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Max.
you too. Goodbye.
And hope to see you soon. Right.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. And now, Georg. What about your connection, Georg?
Yeah, it's still the red box up here. So I remain on voice.
Okay.
But believe me, you don't miss anything not seeing me.
No, we still remember you.
Yeah,
We have a
yeah.
photo of Georg.
I still didn't get any more hairs on my head, so it's fine. Yeah, let's continue. Congrats to Slovenia, by the way. I like those wines a lot, and they've, in my understanding, they've got one big issue that almost all of the wine in Slovenia is drunk in Slovenia. So there's just a little export, which is unfortunate. So I would like to see more even in Austria from Slovenia. And as it's close, yeah, we are now going to the region of Südburgenland. So the last tip of this, on the map on the right-hand side, the last tip down there of Südburgenland, you can see, is bordering to Slovenia, by the way. So there is something in common, and of course, there's a lot of history we share with each other. But this wine is coming from the northern part of Südburgenland. It's called Welschriesling Rechnitz 2021. So what does it mean? Rechnitz is the name of a small city, small town, small village in the northern part of Südburgenland, just on the foot of the highest hill of Burgenland. The name of the highest hill of Burgenland is Gschriebenstein, and it goes up to 850 meters, so quite high for Burgenland, and especially on the foothill of this Gschriebenstein, this Welschriesling is planted. And the big difference here, referring to the climate, as said before, kind of comparison with Slovenia. During the day, we can even go up to 35, 40 degrees, but during nighttime, it's cooling down again. So it's in favor of acidity, it's in favor of the fruitiness of the wine, just in comparison to the northern part of Burgenland, the Neusiedlersee region, where it cools down to 32 degrees in night. So this is a big difference. And once you taste this wine, you will see immediately the freshness of this wine. Maybe it's not that high acidity in terms of grams per liter, but the structure of the acidity is completely different. It's a more refreshing, more citric acidity on this wine, and it's more fine structured, finely grained structure on this wine on the palate. Sorry, and it's actually the Welschriesling grapes are a selection of the best Welschriesling grapes, and Rechnitz in the name means we talk about a village wine. So up to now, we don't have this system in Burgenland, regional wine, village wine, and single vineyard wine might come up. So please stay tuned the next couple of years. We might make a change here as well. But this category of wine would belong to the village level of Welschriesling, Rechnitz 21. Quite tasty, quite refreshing, nicely done. They are running a Heurigen, a Buschenschank as well there, where they sell a lot of this wine in there together with the local food. So this pork thing here. We got a lot of vegetables there. We got even some little bit sweet courses, which is quite of a challenge with this wine, but some people really like it. I don't know why, but they do. That's what they do. And as said before, it's refreshing. It's about €6.50 from the winery, and it's their best-selling wine, of course. Roughly, if I'm not mistaken, about 7,000, 8,000 bottles existing, as this is a small region. And the city or the small village of Rechnitz is the forerunner region, the forerunner village with regards to Welschriesling in Südburgenland. So they are on top of the top in the development of a new style with amphoras, with concrete tanks, with skin contact, for example, with Welschriesling, and they are developing, and they're the driving force, making Welschriesling the white wine for Burgenland in terms of marketing and in terms of food pairing partners to cope with.
Okay, thank you. And what about the distributor in Poland?
There is no distributor right now.
Right, that's up to. And Mandelbrunner is a family, or
Mandelbrunner. So the winery is called Arkadenhof Mandelbrunner, and Mandelbrunner is the family name because of the marriage of Mandel and Brunner. So it's built together.
Pretty sure I have already met somewhere.
For sure. They have a lot of quite freshly made, easygoing, up to skin contact wines lasting for 15, 20 years. So they are really broad scoped, and they're one of the forerunners beside Mr. Stracker, Thomas Stracker from Rechnitz, putting the Welschriesling on the map.
Mm-hmm. Good, perfect. Thank you. Any comments, guys? We really appreciate this one.
Yes.
Avocado salad and coriander.
Yeah, that's a good fit.
Well, okay. Coriander, kolendra in Polish. All right, so let's move to the next one, right?
Yeah, let's move to Mr. Preisinger.
Preisinger, yes.
Preisinger, but it's not the famous Preisinger. It's another famous Preisinger. It's Georg Preisinger, not Klaus Preisinger. Maybe you refer to Klaus with C, where you have the label, which is just white, and his signature on it. Yeah, this is Klaus Preisinger from Gols. I think they are related to each other, but anyhow, it's Georg Preisinger in Gols. He called Welschriesling voll Freude, so a lot of enjoyment 2021. Again, even more, let's say, not simpler structure, but leaner structure of the Welschriesling wine. And he shows you, and this is the reason why I selected these wines, that even though it's coming from the Neusiedlersee region, where it's really, really warm and hot and low rain rates there, we can do refreshing lean wines with just 11 ABV. And as mentioned before by my Slovenian colleague, Welschriesling is a late ripening variety, so end of September, beginning of October, harvest time. Here in this region, he managed to harvest this one in beginning of September, because normally, especially in 21, mid of August must be about 11 degrees of ABV. So he managed the vineyard, the canopy, in a sense, to keep the freshness, keep low alcohol in the wine, and doing a really refreshing style of wine. It's a quite old vineyard. The vineyard is planted back in 1978, and it's a lot of black earth in there, and this fits really well to the Welschriesling clone he is using here. It's a kind of apple fruit there as well, but it's a quite fancy apple fruit, a little bit of hay, a little bit of grass, a little bit of fresh cutted grass in there, little pears there. It's a little softer version of it, but elegant, refreshing, nicely made. You have to enjoy this wine quite chilled, so it makes a lot of fun drinking this wine. So, an example from a warmest region, a very fresh wine on the other side.
And yeah, delicious, very refreshing, preparing with chicken salad.
Yeah, by the way, this wine, I think it was 2008 and 2012, if I'm not mistaken, was the best Welschriesling of Austria.
We loved it. And Andrzej from Poznań is writing something. Very balanced, very fresh. Yes, well balanced, very fresh. Okay, and what about the distributor of this Preisinger, which will be one day as famous as Klaus?
He is looking for one.
He's looking for one. And how many bottles do they produce?
Should be around 10,000.
10,000, right? 7.45.
Yeah, ex-winery.
Ex-winery. And Wojciech from Open is writing something.
Yeah, maybe he's got it, but according to information, I like this wine very much, personally.
Oh, Wojciech hesitating. Vollfreude.
Vollfreude. Yes. While you drink this wine, you are full of emotions, full of enjoyment. This is how it should be.
This is an inside joke, German joke.
Yeah. No, actually, it could be even a German joke, Vollfreude, not even an Austrian German joke, if you know what I mean. Because there's the most uncommon thing between Germany and Austria, the common language. That's how it goes. But Vollfreude is something our German dear friends are saying as well. Yeah, quite nice going. So, and now let's go to something different, to the next one. Welschriesling Riedbühl 2021, coming from the Neusiedlersee region again, Weiden am See. It's a small village just beside Gols, so they are close to each other. A little bit higher in alcohol, a little bit lower in acidity, dry as well, €5.90 from the winery. What does it mean? Riedbühl, so if you see the word Ried, R-I-E-D, on a label in Austria, it means single vineyard. So these Welschriesling grapes are sourced from a single vineyard named Bühl. That's the name of the single vineyard. And this guy, Mr. Haretter, is one of the, let's say, most innovative and forward-looking guys, trying a lot of things, doing new style of wines, and especially this wine has had skin contact before fermentation of 36 hours. So this wine has been kept on the skins for 36 hours. I think you can see it on the color already. It's a little bit darker than the other ones we've got in the glass, at least here. And then all the rest is done in stainless steel. So he works with the fine lees for a couple of months before filling it into the bottle. But the fruit profile is, for me, different compared to the other ones. It's a little bit more tropical style. It's about orange. It's about, what's the English word for mandarine? I can't remember, but the smaller type of oranges in there. There are still apple notes there, and a little bit of bitterness due to the lees aging, which I would say it's a kind of grapefruitiness into this wines. But concentrate on the finish of this wine. It's lean, but it's fuller and longer than the other ones we had so far.
Well, Polish is mandarinka, so this is completely understandable. But they have tangerine dream, right? And what about the distributor?
Let me check. So he didn't note anyone. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tangerine. It's tangerine. Yeah.
Great finish. We like it a lot.
Yeah.
And the acidity here is, however, is not high in grams, but it's going up front.
Yeah, it's not about the figures. It's about the taste of acidity, and there are different acidities existing. And this is a ripe acidity supporting the wine and giving the backbone somehow. Yeah, with this one.
Amazing wine.
Yeah, fully agree.
We enjoyed so much. Yes. Well, fine wine Krakow. So this is not very common. Thank you, guys. Yes, they made a comment. Perfect job. Good. Thank you very much. Georg. So this one is, they have no distributor. And how many bottles they produce?
About 5,000.
5,000.
Yeah.
Right. Good. So now we change the country, right? This was number 7, and now it's number 8, and wine from Hungary. So see you in some time, Jörg. And now it's Andre. Hi, Andre.
Hello.
Monopod.
Hi, guys.
So
right.
This is the floor is yours, and go on, please.
All right. So in Hungary, Olaszrizling is basically the synonym for Riesling, and it is a bit of a problem. Gives no end of confusion because. As you guys are aware, Riesling outside of Hungary is divided into these two groups. But for Hungarians, Olaszrizling or Welschriesling is the obvious Riesling. And Balaton, which is the wine region my family produces wine on, and it's located on the northern shores of Lake Balaton, is a wonderful place to produce Olaszrizling. As you can see here in this picture, it is dominated by these little hills and dales, and these hills are completely volcanic. They are basically cores of ancient mountains that the time has eroded away all the rest, and now all that remained was basically almost solid chunks of basalt that are thankfully coated in a brown forest soil, which is wonderful for agriculture. If we move, yes, you can see this is what I'm talking about. So this is where they mined this wonderful stone for building material and gravel for train rails, and it is this solid. So this is one of these little hills cut in half by mining work. Thankfully, after the fall of the Soviet Union, this mining was stopped to preserve the natural beauty and wonderful vineyards of the region. So yes, Bodachuni is wonderful for this winemaking. But now let's zoom in on what I know best about, because in Bodachuni, which is a really small region, it is basically it's a bite-sized region consisting of just a few hills, and it has been basically separated out from a larger Hungarian region of the northern Balaton Lakeshore. We zoom in even more, even in this small region, and we zoom on into this hill that is in the forefront of this picture. This is my home, and this is where I'm talking to you from. This is called the St. George's Hill, and this is where my family has been living for 22 years. I've been privileged enough to be around when we started cultivating Olaszrizling. It was a bumpy start. Back then, there was no Hungarian wine culture to talk about. It was freshly after the basically the change of the Soviet Union, and so we just produced like this large amounts of wine. But we started out organic, which at the time sounded crazy, but fortunately the winds have turned, and now everybody's looking for organic. So we became basically this discovered little treasure winery up on this hill. We produce lots of different types of Olaszrizling, but the one you're tasting today is a really special one. That's my father right there. He's quite amazing, and he's basically living his dream as a wine producer. He was raised by my grandfather, his father, to be a wine producer, to be a wine person. But unfortunately, my grandfather has passed away well before I could meet him. My father was but a teenager when my grandfather died, and so a lot of knowledge was not passed on. But there was a few sayings that he remembered, and one of these sayings was that remember, my son, because wonderful wonderful wines can be made out of Olaszrizling. And he remembered, and now we have a bunch of very different versions of this same wine, which is, as you could see from just the line you're tasting right now, it's really good, well suited for having a variety on multiple different plantations. Now you're tasting from around the world, but it works even if the difference is just a few kilometers. But there is a little bit of a difference in the microclimate or the soil, and you get a completely different, wonderful little Olaszrizling. And the Olaszrizling you're tasting are from the very grapes you can see now. It was the same grapes there where we stood with my father, and it's the same grapes you see right now. This is the center of our winery, and these grapes produced on that wine. We reuse two types of Olaszrizling from that grape. There is a basic one, which there is nothing basic about it. It's a wonderful Olaszrizling, but it was not cultivated in any other special way than the rest of our wines. But the one you're tasting right now is an Olaszrizling that has been fruit selected and then slowly pressed without removing the greenery of the fruits. And so it is a really slow and methodical pressing, which brings forth better quality juice at the price of the amount of juice you can press out of a of this type of production. And so we only selected the best of fruits for this endeavor, just a small fragment, cellar. Just a small fragment of all of our wines, and in the end, it has become a really small amount of 1,500 bottles of this wonderful little Riesling that you can taste now. And this is one of our top Rieslings. There is one that is a bit closer to our hearts. You got to check us out to check it out. But this is a worthy adversary of that top Riesling, and this is the one that we were able to produce from the very start, from this grapes. These were the very first that we basically recultivated after we inherited, or we bought it, but the previous owners of it were Soviet Union, or not Soviet Union, but communist collective workers, and the communist collective did a terrible job of keeping this grape clean. We found like 4-meter wide gaps between the lines when we finally cleared this plantation out, and so we had to replant it. And I was a large enough kid to help with that replantation, so I can say that I was there from the beginning to in the end. And now the end results of that wine and our newest interpretation of this traditional sassy wine is the one that's in front of you. It's been only created because of the COVID crisis, because we had a bunch of time, not many guests, and we thought, all right, let's use this time to experiment with our more stable and well-liked Olaszrizling, and the end result was marvelous. And we called it, there's a fantasy name for it. It's the Rókaluki, which in Hungarian it means the foxhole Riesling. And the reason because of it's named after a foxhole, because when we moved into the hill 22 years ago, a large family of foxes was living on the same little dot of land where we took roots, and our golden retrievers chased them away. And in memoriam of our little red-skinned adversaries, we named this plantation a foxhole plantation. And I see what's the best food pairing. As this is a more top shelf kind of Welschriesling, really complex, you can really taste even deciliter of it for like a longer period of time to see all the shapes and tastes you can bring forth from this lovely little wine. I would recommend to not pair the wine for the food, but the food for the wine. And in this case, I'd recommend some livers, some good tasty livers, maybe some cheese, some old cheese. But if you really want to drink it with like a conventional meal, then I'd recommend something semi heavy. So like you don't have to eat a chicken for this wine to be not be overwhelmed, but I wouldn't recommend it with game either. So something between the two, something spicy maybe that normally would not be recommended for a white wine, but with this I'm confident that it will not overpower it.
Okay, Andrew, thank you very much. So there are other comments in the chat. Beautiful label, very elegant. Wonderful wine, very elegant. Well, different people. Marvelous, amazing, unforgettable. Well, and
really.
So and the label, and somebody else is writing something, and the label is have some foxy color, right? So
yes, we design our labels inside the family, and the brains of the operation is my mother, while the brawn is my father. And she's the one who designed our labels since we started. And first there were like little graphic sketches for our wines that were her graphic sketches. But now we changed tactics, and because she moved on to oil paintings, our labels have moved on to oil paintings as well. And with this, this was one of the first things that basically the painting was done for the label and not vice versa. And it is a zoomed in part of a larger painting with a lot of red. And but yeah, the reason of why it's a red label is the foxes. We are sorry that we had to chase them away, but we had to make wine.
Okay, and tell me the price of this wine, distributor and total production.
Yeah, so we are the distributors of this wine. We are the Sassy estate, or Sassy Birtok in Hungarian. And as far as I'm aware, it's not not been taken into Poland by any reseller. So that's still an open opportunity. And it's basically the price is 4,450 Hungarian forints, which is getting less and less euros as as time
Yeah.
marches on. It's around. Oh, let me check. Hmm, what's today's news with the euro? You can never know as a Hungarian when you wake up.
But roughly, let's say how much it is.
It's around 11 euros, like
11 euros.
in the ballpark of 11 euros. But
Mhm.
because of the Hungarian economy being a fickle beast as it is, you never know.
Never
Maybe it
know.
will be less, and then we mark up the prices to survive. But we'll see.
Okay, and the total production is how many bottles of
No,
this wine?
we do 1,500 bottles of that, and this was the first vintage of this wine. So the plantation itself brought forth a lot of very nice wines, but this is the first time we produced a separate fruit selected version of it during the COVID crisis. But seeing as this was a very successful experiment in the matters of this became a lovely wine,
Mhm.
we're going to do it year after year, and we are going for the same amount each year. We'll see how it turns out because yes, this is our most reliable plantation, so I don't think there will be a problem of producing 1,500 of this, and we are planned to stop it. That last 200 or so bottles are going for longer storage. So there's still, you guys are able to buy it still, but maybe during the autumn or the end of the summer, we're going to move it down to the treasure vaults of our winery and wait a few years with it. But then again, a new vintage of it should be made soon.
Okay. Thank you very much. Congrats, Andre. Congrats on this wine. And thank you. Stay with us if there's new comments coming.
I can stay for like 10 minutes
Ah,
or so,
yes, for
but
like 10
I
minutes.
have
Right.
to go
So,
because
guys,
I'm,
if you want to contact Andre, you have to hurry up, or then you will be given the contact afterwards. Right. Thank you, Andre. And Georg, now three last wines, Welschriesling, Ried Vogelsang.
Yes, Welschriesling Ried Vogelsang, vintage 2020. 2020 has been a quite hot and warm vintage in Austria. Yeah, a couple of guys had overripe wines, but this is not the case with this wine here. As you can see in the funny picture, quite young people doing this wine. Hammer, the winery is called Hammer, placed in Rust, so Leiterberg region again. And there is something special with this wine. We just had the Hungarian wine with the oak treatment, 500-liter oak treatment. This wine has been treated with 500-liter barrels as well, with Austrian oak. Mr. Stockinger was doing the cuvettage on the wines, and the wine has been kept even on the cross lees for the whole period, being in the 500-liter barrels. So for 1 year on cross lees with these wines. You can see the figures again. Acidity is about 6.6 grams per liter. So it's an elegant, refreshing, nicely apple and citric notes Welschriesling wine, but with a quite interesting and a lot of tension in the finish of this wine, which was given by the oak treatment over the long period of time. There was no batonnage made. It was just like kept on the cross lees for all the time, just surveying if it's not going to be reductive. I personally do like this wine quite much because it shows what Welschriesling really can do. And with this wine, you can keep it for at least 5 to 10 years. It's no problem. And you can enjoy it. Of course, from the fruit point of view, for me, it's a little bit universal wine with lighter dishes up to mid heavy dishes or semi heavy dishes. said before. Pork does it quite well. Chicken with some cream sauce, for example, does it quite well. But as well, some salads, green salads, beans, bell pepper, all this stuff you get on a traditional food here in Austria when you're there in the city. Ried Vogelsang, again, it's a single vineyard wine coming from the Ried Vogelsang. The name tells you already what it's all about, the single vineyards. Vogelsang means bird singing. So there are a lot of birds in there. So inhabitants or inhabitants for birds on this hill, moving away from the lake of Neusiedl. The lake of Neusiedl is the source for the cool air during night, as the water is releasing some humidity there, and this gives the freshness and the structure of the wine, although it's just 12% of ABV with a bone dry finish. Yeah, curry. Yeah, you've got a little bit of spiciness in this wine. Yeah, it's for me, curry is something. It's not a spice as such. It's something put together. But you can go with a curry. We can go with Cheyenne pepper, for example, or we can go with some herbs, local herbs there, even some. Root vegetables I can find in this wine. So it's quite complex for me. And this is mainly due to the 1 year in 500-liter barrels on the cross lees.
The Austrian curry could be completely different than Polish curry.
Yeah, as I said, at least to my knowledge, curry is some mixture of different spices. Yeah, so curry can be curry and not curry, whatever it is. Yeah, but I agree. There's a kind of spiciness which will fit really, really well with this wine.
Mm. And what about the distributor and production?
According to my knowledge, let me check again. Mr. Hammer. He didn't name any importer in Poland, and production is about 5,000 to 7,000 bottles.
Okay. And somebody's writing something. No. How do you like it, guys? Great wine. Oh. Okay, anybody? I believe about.
Yeah, for me, this flight is more about what you can do with Welschriesling. We're not just talking about lean, straightforward, easygoing wines. Yeah, there is a substance, there's a tension on this wine, which gives us the potential to age as well in the cellar.
Sehr gut. This is Wojciech from Opel. Yes,
sehr gut. Yeah.
Well, this is the level of German language I can manage. Yes, so sehr gut. Yeah, klar, genau.
Yeah, me too.
Great balanced wine. This is much more complicated. Yes, thank you, Puro.
Yeah.
Great balanced wine.
In German, it would mean großartig balancierter Wein.
This sounds Angela Merkel speaking.
Okay, but I agree. And this is, give the wine time 1 year. So, by the way, I mentioned in the very beginning, it might be the case that the region of Eisenberg will include Welschriesling in their DSC structure. But they're not talking about Welschriesling, the normal slimline style. They're talking about Welschriesling, which has kept at least 1 year in the winery. So some big oak, small oak, whatsoever. So it's going to be this label we are tasting right now.
Could you describe this wine evolution in, the change of tastes in 5 years from now?
So there will be still, and there has to be, because it's a great wine for fruit complementing, this straightforward, lean, easygoing, fresh, citric Welschriesling wines, for sure. But the development will show you what you can do with this variety, going in the more spiciness, more herbal, point and taste a few of Welschriesling. A little bit more creaminess on the back finish and much longer and balanced finish in terms of acidity, fruitiness of the wine, as well as some positively bitterness. Yeah, because keeping on the lees, yeah, will force you a little bit more of body on the wine, and this grapefruitiness will add up the drinkability and the enjoyment for the next sip. Yeah, so this is the way I'm seeing with Welschriesling, especially in the region of southern Burgenland and then Leiterberg region.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Georg. So let's pass to the next wine.
Yeah.
This
So
Handwerk.
Yes. Welschriesling Handwerk 2020, winery Sommer from Donauskirchen. They've got a whole range of Handwerk wines. They have a Welschriesling, a Riesling, I think even a Sauvignon Blanc, if I'm not mistaken there. And what does it mean, Handwerk? It means low intervention. It means being in balance with nature. So it's about spontaneous fermentation on these wines. It's about no stainless steel. It's a big neutral oak barrel there. In this case, the Welschriesling spontaneous fermented and kept for 12 months, so 1 year in big neutral oak, and then unfiltered, unclarified into the bottle. That's what's done with Handwerk, meaning, okay, we treat the nature as it is, and we just transport the sip of the grape into the bottle with all the ingredients behind. So this is quite interesting wine for me. 13% of ABV, 6.5 grams of acidity. Still, we've got this apple touch in there, but a little bit more of the stone fruit. I've got apricots in this wine. I've got some grassiness in this wine, hints of citric approach, and quite layered flavor profile with a play between fruitiness like apples, citrus, as said before, herbiness, grassiness, and minerality. And this is key to Leiterberg DSC, as these wines are grown on the Leiterberg region. Doing the best in the vineyard and trying to keep it and transport it to the bottle. This is Handwerk, what it's all about. And this wine is 1750 ex-winery. I think it's about 1,500 or maybe 2,000 bottles, roughly, with this wine. And I would, as said before by my Hungarian colleague, this wine for me is something for at least semi full food. So I would go with a pork, I would go with a beef, even with this wine. So it can really have a play with much stronger food than the normal Welschriesling.
Okay. And how long you can keep it?
So actually, I've got this wine in my cellar. I'm now drinking vintage 15.
15.
Yes.
Okay.
Still perfect. So it's nicely done, and you can keep it in your cellar for a couple of years.
Okay. Interesting one. We love this approach. So yeah, good. And Sommer, yes, Sommer.
Yes. So you see the family. Maybe it's not the whole family. The parents on the right-hand side, Leo Sommer and Silvana Sommer, they are just about to hand over the winery to the guy on the very, very left. You might know from last year, Leo Sommer. He used to be the Leiterberg DSC chairman, and he's actually it was his new line introduced into this winery somehow. Yeah, but on the long run, he and his wife, and he's got kids as well already, they will take over, and for sure they will continue with this Welschriesling Handwerk. They were one of the first ones being organic in Donauskirchen, for example.
Okay. And what about the distributor in Poland?
He didn't give me any so far, but I think he should have one, if I'm not mistaken, because I saw it the last time when I was with you there in Poland, in the supermarkets. Some are not in the supermarkets, in the Winotheka.
In the Winotheka.
Yeah, we were in one Winotheka and I saw some in there.
Okay. So they should have someone.
They should have someone. If not, they are very keen, of course.
Yeah, and this is, speaking of being here last year, good news is Georg Schweitzer is coming back to Poland this year, supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. To Warsaw and Krakow, surely, and perhaps to Danzig, yeah, or Wrocław.
Yeah, wherever you're going to take me, I'll be there.
Okay, yeah. Good. So this will be in beginning of October, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, good, good. So the last wine today, yeah, perfect timing, by the way. Weißer Schiefer.
Yes, Weißer Schiefer S 2019. So this is the oldest and just released Welschriesling we have here. To be honest with you, it's not just Welschriesling, it's just 95% of Welschriesling and 5% of Weißburgunder. And Mr. Uwe Schiefer is running this winery in the Südburgenland, in the Eisenberg region, living in Welgersdorf. And he is a guy doing out of the scope things. I think you can smell it already on this wine. You can taste it on this wine. It's something different. Yeah? The S stands for Schiefer, for schist, of course, like the name Schiefer. Yeah, but it's as well the soil of the vineyards. In this wine, quite late harvested, end of October, 13.5 ABV, quite high acidity. And what's the interesting thing on this wine is it's spontaneous fermented in open wooden vessels, and then nothing added at all. 19 months, so almost 2 years on the cross lees. Then there was no fining done, no filtration done, and off it goes to the bottle. That's how it there. And then it stays another half year in the winery at least until it's released. So it's a quite serious way of doing Welschriesling wine, requiring heavier food, more decent food, a little bit, I would suggest even a little bit of decanting on this wine to give a little bit of air to breathe with and to open up. And the most interesting feature, beside the quite savory acidity in this wine and the apple and the lemon structure which is there, a little touches of herbiness and creaminess, I always got a little bit of gunpowder in this wine, minerality, gunpowder. Yeah, and this is for me the really interesting thing what Uwe is doing here with this wine. This wine, by the way, can hold on for 10-15 years without any problems. And I just drank 2010, if I'm not mistaken there. A great wine, quite balanced, round, charming, with a very long finish.
Well, great to hear about your trip. So, Jolanta, but I will come with Georg as well. Good. And what's the best food pairing for this?
Yeah, as said before, it's a quite elegant wine, but still you can go with a more heavier dish in there. Yeah, so we did it, for example, with spare ribs. Yeah, quite interesting combination, but it was really a nice fit there. Spare ribs done with a little bit of honey, so you had this sugar acidity play in the wine. But on the other side, I would go with traditional Austrian food like Wiener Schnitzel, like baked chicken, yeah, for example, or fried chicken. You can do there. Then we've got a meal which is done out of beef together with some root vegetables with a cream sauce. Yeah, this is a perfect fit there as well. And what I like most is fish with this wine. Yeah, not just white fish. You even can go with salmon. Quite interesting. And some what is the name of Karpfen? You know, we've got this.
Carp.
I don't know. Do you call it Karpfen as well?
Yeah. We started with Aschermittwoch, which is the same in German, and Carp is
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, in English it's carp. Yeah, that's how it's called. So with carpfin, a quite fat fish somehow. Yeah, with some potatoes. Yeah, Petersil, Erdäpfel, as we say, or Kartoffeln. Yeah, that's the German way of saying it.
Often, yes.
Yeah, we say Erdäpfel. We're in the eastern part of Austria. Or actually in Burgenland, we say Krumpien, like the Croatian Krumpli. Yeah, so there's a slang version existing. So this is the combination I would look forward with this wine, or just enjoy it on its own with nothing together, sitting on the terrace and enjoying life.
Good. And so coming back to the Sommer, Sommer is imported by Austrovin.
Okay.
Yeah, Adam Kusak.
Yeah, I remember I saw it in Poland. So
Fantastisch, yes, Wojciech, fantastisch, yes, genau. Love this one. Love this one. Amazing wine. Good. And great smell and aromas. Perfect. So,
yeah, and this guy was putting on the paper, asking for a distributor. So he was saying, leider nein, sehr gerne neu. So meaning, unfortunately, I don't have any distributor in Poland, but I would love to get one.
okay. Well, and how many bottles?
2,500 roughly.
2,500. Right. Good. Great. Georg, perhaps we can see you at the end.
I'll try. I can't promise.
Yeah. And now we lost you. No, so we can't see Georg, but
no, sorry for that.
You see, guys. Well, anyway, this is we can see you in September, October, right?
Yeah.
In person next time. Yes, next time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is
no,
it
it's
oaked?
not.
Is it
it's
oaked?
not oaked. No, it's not oaked. It has been kept in oak barrels, as said before. On the cross lees in there, it was fermented in open oak fermenters. Yeah, so maybe this is where it comes from. But this oak impression is mainly due to the cross lees and the long time on the cross lees, which gives you the impression of oak, but it's not oak. Yeah, it's like the Semillon from Hunter Valley. After a couple of years, you think it's oak, but it's never seen oak before. It's just stainless steel. Here it's a little bit of oak, but it's no new oak, no French oak, nothing, just open oak fermenters.
No French oak. Okay. Good. Any comments, guys? How did you like the Welschriesling tasting? Nah. Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Georg. Yes, fantastisch. Fantastisch. No, fantastic. Fantastic. And yes.
Ja, bitteschön.
Danke sehr. That's yes. It's amazing. Thank you so much. It was great. Thank you very much. Great tasting. Waiting for more. Great. Thank you, guys. This is Georg Schweitzer. Yes, Georg Schweitzer himself. Really appreciate this meeting. And Max and Andre, of course. Good. Thank you. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Georg. Maximilian is writing something. Yeah. Thank you, Georg. And it was a pleasure. Yes. The pleasure was all ours. So let's see what next. Yeah. Thank you, Georg. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Andre. Thank you all. And pure pleasure. Thank you for this meeting. Oh yes. Thank you. Great meeting. Bye, guys. See you soon. And of course, don't drink too much. Have a good evening. Bye bye. Good night.